Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in.
Pierce for three. It's good. Tatum puts up a three. Bang!
Welcome to the Celtics Rewind. I'm JP.
And I am Nat, the GM. What's up, y'all?
Howdy, Celtic fans. This is episode 8 of the Celtics Rewind, talking all things Boston Celtics. I'm JP, the franchise. She's Nat, the GM. Nat, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing, JP?
Well, I lost a bet because the Pacers won against our Celtics. So I had to run around the next day wearing the Pacers jersey, and I was disgusted. And my friend was like, I thought you was a Celtics fan. So he just gave me the look of disappointment, unfortunately. So it hasn't been a good week. But it's been great, though, because we do have a special guest that came on with us. She's dope. I mean, she is dope. Nat's dope. She's dope too as well. Like, she's an historian. She hosts the Hoops and Huddle Podcast. She's awesome. I love listening to her on the HoopSpaces with her analysis. She gives great breakdowns of any type of game. It's Maliika Walker. Maliika is our guest for Celtics Rewind. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here and talk to you guys about the Celtics, the team I used to hate with all my might. But since I said Jason Tatum, I've had to appreciate it a little bit. I silently love Jason Tatum. I wanted him to be better than Lonzo Ball. Now it's bad for Lonzo. Remember, there was so much publicity around Lonzo Ball and his father, and his commercial. Remember that Foot Locker commercial? I love that commercial. I'm sorry. That's when I started loving Jason Tatum. I said, he's adorable. Like, so I like Jason Tatum. And so I did like Larry Bird back in the day, but Kevin McHale clotheslined ran that was it. But we go on to talk about today's Celtics.
That's hilarious, though. And Maliika is a Brooklyn Nets fan, though, but she does give love to the Celtics, though. So So speaking of, just love right there. So the in-season tournament happened last week in the quarterfinals. LL Cool J singing his "Mama Knock You Out" song, and
I'm
the
so tired
Celtics
of hearing
is
Mama
feeling.
said, I don't know what to do. Like, if I hear one more thing,
So LO was performing it. The Celtics were feeling good. They got the Indiana Pacers, the same team they put 155 points on. And unfortunately, the Boston Celtics felt short-handed as they lost to the Indiana Pacers 122 to 112 without Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup here. Maliika, what are your takeaways from the game that the Celtics lost to the Pacers? What impressed you about the Pacers?
what impressed me about the Pacers, honestly, is Tyrese Halliburton. I've been watching Tyrese Halliburton for a few seasons now, and I feel like in terms of point guard, he has to, he doesn't really turn over the ball. He's either scoring the ball or finding the right man to pass it to. I love the way he plays the game. So it's fun watching him, and it's interesting watching him. And I do watch a lot of LaMelo Ball games, and I think LaMelo's going to feel the pressure with Tyrese getting all this publicity, being in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be interesting to see how that kind of develops. But with Tyrese, I just love how he plays the game, man. So I was impressed. I'm impressed with Tyrese Halliburton, and how he manages the game. Buddy Hield sometimes can be. It depends on the game to me, but this season he's been contributing to them. Obi Toppin is finding his lane, but I don't think he's quite found it yet. So I think with the Pacers, they have some interesting pieces. But Tyrese Halliburton being in the center, I'm happy for them, and I'm happy for Miles Turner that he finally has the point guard. I feel PG that I feel like he really needs. Yeah. So yeah, they're good offensively. Defensively, they're a hot mess. But offensively, they will score that ball.
Yes, they do. And Tyrese Halliburton had a really good game too as well. Nat, so like the Celtics was doing really well in the first half. And then unfortunately, just when it comes to, we've been talking about that devastating third quarter. I don't know what it is with them in the third quarter, but that second half, the pace just changed and Celtics just could not really just recover from that. What's your takeaways of what you saw Boston, like the difference of Boston in the first half and then the second half?
And talk about Al Horford, please. Like, what was he doing? No.
So when you talk about it was the last Monday, so you have to try to think about it. Al Horford has been really well. Played really well. This season, and it's because he's been in a reserve role because Kristaps Porzingis is there. You ask Al Horford to do too much, then that's when things start getting a little weird, a little wonky because he's older, so you can't lean on him every night. Now, technically, leading up to this game with Indiana, he's been playing great, filling in for Kristaps in the starting lineup. So but this game he had 2 points, he had 7 rebounds, 4 assists. So he's not really a contributor. Offensively. It wasn't necessarily a great game for him. He shot 1 3. I would have preferred him shoot a little bit more. And he only shot 3 shots in general. So, not a lot of production, from Horford. Then you talk about Boston with the slow start for Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum for a while had like 2 to 4 points, the first quarter, so that was interesting. But, Jaylen Brown was doing all right, game. And then Tatum, and Tatum picks it up. And he actually ends the game with 32, 12, and 6, highest score for Boston. But then you kind of shifted to, defensive end, which I think this was lost defensively. They just kind of took their foot off the gas. What stands out to me is you allow Aaron Nesmith, who is drafted by Boston, who is doing really well with Indiana, might I add. He's gonna get up for this game. He's gonna have a chip on his shoulder because he was traded in that trade for Malcolm Brogdon. He has off the bench 14 points. He was going for it. He shot the ball 10 times. He was going for it. He was a +2 off the bench. But then Mathurin, you also allow him to get 16 points. So together they have 30, so 30 points off the bench, and Boston has 21 off the bench. There's discrepancy right there. So defensively, this just wasn't working out. Drew Holiday, I need more from him. Drew was 1 of 5 from 3, 3 of 9 from the field. He's a -15. He's got the worst plus-minus on the team, in this game. He's got to do more. He's got to give more. I don't know if Kristaps will necessarily help that. I'm not sure. I have to look at the numbers if he does better with Kristaps on the floor, but you got to do something when it comes to Drew Holiday. He's got to get going. Drew Holiday honestly has to give you between 13 and 15 points a night. If they're going to take this where they need to go and go a mile, they got to get more production from Drew Holiday. Derek White is great. I don't have anything to say about Derek White. Derek White is fine. 18, 4, and 8. He's been so consistent. He's been shooting well. His shot is consistent. He didn't shoot the 3 well. I really don't care. If Derek White doesn't have a good game, I don't care. I'll find a way to find positivity in it because I know he gave his all, in that game. He did something really well. So defensively, Boston just has to kind of just lock in again.
Yeah, that pace in that second half, like the pace was just outran them, and just the turnovers was just terrible on Boston's end. Pop quiz, everybody. who had the highest plus out of all the players on the Boston Celtics that game?
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna look it up.
Well, it looks like Sam
Sam-
Hauser.
Sam Hauser got a +9, and that is a problem that he is your best player on the court right there. So thank you
But
to
Drew had a
my-
-15. I mean, damn. Okay.
yeah.
But he had
it,
his field goal was really low. Also,
Drew
so.
had a -15, but right behind him was Jason Tatum, and then right behind him
right
was.
behind
It's stuff. You're not gonna win a lot of games like that, So these guys won't figure it out.
Yeah, the Pacers had some secret stuff that they drank before the game and stuff, and they came out with the victory and all that. So congratulations to the Indiana Pacers right there, taking the Celtics out the tournament. So now we're like, okay, what is going to be out the next game that we are going to play, because the in-season tournament's on week and all that. It was like, all right, well, we might as well just go ahead and just, face the New York Knicks yet again right there. So on Friday, the Celtics face the Knicks, and voila! Kristaps Porzingis is finally back in the lineup and all that after missing some time. And the Boston Celtics won 133-123. So Maliika, what is your takeaways from seeing the Celtics recover from a loss and beating the Knicks? What stood out to you?
What stood out to me for this game? I mean, you got Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, did their thing. Jason Tatum, the minutes Jason Tatum sometimes plays. He's a young cat, but you know what I mean? He in there 39 minutes. He played he plays so many minutes sometimes. So I was gonna ask you guys a question about his minutes and do y'all even care about stuff like that? But what of course stands out to me is that no turnovers. And he shot, his shot, his 3-pointers were an issue. But he was productive. He was able to score. He was able to get a steal. He had no turnovers. He even had some good assists. He was able to rebound. He was able to do whatever the team needed to get the W. And then you have Kristaps Porzingis. I think that he's in a great role with the Celtics because he doesn't have to be the number 1 or number 2. You know what I mean? Like, you have the $300 million man, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum leading on that way. And then he's like that third guy. And I just think that's perfect for him. And I think that he was able to contribute in a way where it wasn't a huge lift for him. He played a lot of minutes for him to be out, you know what I mean, with an injury. I felt like 30 minutes was a lot. You know what I mean, for him to play. But, Derek White is going to Derek White. He scored more than anyone else on the team. But it's amazing when you look at where Derek White came from. Like, his career arc is really interesting. And I'm loving what he's doing for the Celtics. You guys have to be extremely happy with Derek White. He is doing his thing. Peyton Pritchard didn't really contribute much again. And Chris's favorite Cornette either. But, you guys, starters, did the damn thing. And even Al Horford contributed in this one. So I thought it was a good W. And I don't hate the Knicks, but I'm going to celebrate whenever they lose because I can't Knicks fans. Sean and I have a few Knicks fans I like, but for me, that's what stand out. You guys starters definitely did the damn thing. Even Drew Holiday, he's a defensive monster, but you know what I mean? He was able to do his thing too. So, W.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nat, talk about Porzingis this game and other takeaways too as well. Because Porzingis, it just seems like he just loves to play against the Knicks because he had 8 straight points and he was just hot.
He has incentive, don't he?
He has an agenda against the Knicks. I don't know what it is, but he had an agenda. So So yeah, Nat, talk about Porzingis' impact this game, because it just seems like he just loved playing against the Knicks, and also the other takeaways that you've seen. And then I got a question for both of y'all too as well. So go ahead, Nat, take over.
Yeah, of course. Again, Porzingis is here, and this team, they get right back into the motion. Porzingis is such a great fit for this team. This is the perfect fit for his game. Because you can play off of Jason Tatum, you can play off of Jaylen Brown, and that's how he's going to be best utilized, going forward. They got to find a way to do a triangle. It's kind of like pass it into Porzingis down low. He pulls people in, kick it back out for a better shot. If you have it, one of those J's have to be open, at the top, so that's how I kind of see it going forward. And I would hope that, Joe sees it going forward too, because he'll get great shots like that. Porzingis, very important offensively, super important defensively to what they do, because his height, his size, and how agile he is bothers shots. That's one of the reasons why New York struggles so much. They try to go inside, but they can't shoot over him, so he's a big part of what they do defensively. So when it comes to Porzingis out there, his presence is everything. Literally, Porzingis, if he's not there, they can't win. And when I'm talking about can't win, I'm talking about the championship. I'm talking about like going forward. They can't do it. They're not going to do it without him. He has to be healthy. Then you put Al Horford back on the bench. Lo and behold, 14-10. He doesn't have to do as much. Tatum's playing 38 minutes because we still have not, found that small forward that's going to, kind of stand in for him, but also give valuable minutes. The non-Tatum minutes are still a problem, At some point, we have to look at Drew Holiday coming off the bench without Horford, and Brissett, and then maybe putting Hauser in there, because Derek White, let him run it, or Tatum bring the ball up. But Drew Holiday, you got to get something else out of that bench, and you got to get more out of him. Maybe he'll have a more aggressive approach if he's the guy off the bench. Right now, he's just doing whatever needs to be done, and he's blending in. The problem is we need him to step up more. He needs, on average, Drew Holiday had 16, 6, 5. I'm cool with that. He needs to have that in there every night, So that's what I'm looking at with this game. I just think that this year they have New York's number going forward, and I think Porzingis is the difference maker. Before, New York would give them problems. Not so much this year. I think Porzingis has just changed the landscape of how the team looks.
He's that difference maker. He's that difference maker.
And I actually think that on most nights, he's actually the number 2 on the team, because he has a mismatch usually night in and night out. And if they play through him more, you will see he's probably a number 2 most nights, and Jaylen Brown probably moves to the number 3.
I mean, what do you guys think of load manage though? Like, he should be low. What do you guys think about managing his minutes and load managing him like in the second half of the season, so he can, he's available for the playoffs? Do y'all care? Do y'all think about that?
60 games. I'm going with 60 games, 62 games, played. Maybe a little less than that. If that means he's going to be fresh for the playoffs, I'm okay with that. The Boston Celtics are going to win a lot of games, so they don't need him. They're going to win probably about 57 to 58 games, and that's a lot of games. And he needs his rest. He's a big guy. He's had some injuries in the past. You can't load manage him. It is okay. I think that they're all going to sit out. There's nice that Tatum's going to sit out, not because he's probably hurt. It's probably just because he plays damn near 40 minutes a night. There's going to be nice Jaylen Brown sits out. Drew sits out, which has already happened. So it's okay with me, because give these guys the rest that they need, because when April comes and this team is healthy, I don't have anybody beating them. I don't have any, especially in the East. I think that Boston got it.
Yeah, I'm with Nat on that one. They're doing a good job of kind of load managing. I don't really expect Porzingis to play like 65 games like he did last season and stuff. If he could play around like 55, I think it'd be fine just as long as he's healthy because, the injuries in the past, just tell me, yeah, he's playing a lot of minutes, but like there's like really nobody that can back him up that can really produce that can produce, like Jason Tatum. So the non-Tatum is definitely an issue. Jaylen Brown, he'll end up playing. He might play a lot of minutes and stuff, but like, he's gonna get his rest though. So I mean, going forward, like Joe Mazzulla's trying to figure out the rotations and trying to figure out the lineups and all that. So, it's probably going to be an issue, but at the same time, I'm feeling confident that like they'll be able to be just fine and they know like they're going to win a lot of games. And we've seen how they can win without Porzingis. We see them win without Derek White. We've seen them win without Jaylen Brown on the floor. We've seen them win games without Tatum on the floor. So I'm not really too worried about the a lot of minutes though. They can load manage and all that. So it's definitely going to be fine towards it. So once April comes, like she said, once they get help, once they all healthy and stuff, I don't think nobody can beat Boston in the East. So speaking of this game though, what y'all think about Jaylen Brown's ejection in the full court? This is his first career ejection, obviously coming from like, 2 technical fouls. He got a second technical foul when he was on the bench complaining and stuff, and the referee just threw him out the game. And then in the press conference, Jaylen Brown explained that, like, maybe the referee had like a really bad day. I don't know what was going on personally, but he thought it was expletive, that he was thrown out and all that because so many emotions. So what y'all think about Jaylen Brown's ejection? I thought it was like a bad ejection to me.
That's 2 bad ejections. Honestly, it's 2 bad ejections for the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum's was ridiculous, and Jaylen Brown's ridiculous. The refs got to step back, and let these guys play the game. That the Boston Celtics are not disrespectful. They're not a disrespectful team. They may talk to you like, "Hey, I don't agree with this call, or I don't agree with this." But other than that, there's nothing to eject Jason. Jason Tatum's one of the nicest guys in the league. Like, it was just kind of weird. And then Jaylen Brown, he's another nice guy and one of the nicest guys in the league. To eject either one of them, for talking, and they're not saying anything that's crazy to the refs. It's doing too much. The refs got to step back. I think they're getting a little too involved in these games, but we've been saying that for years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He cracked me up when he was like, I thought my first ejection would be, I basically say I thought it'd be a little bit more spicy or like he was disappointed that was his first ejection. That was funny. That was hilarious to me, but you're right. The Jason Tatum ejection was ridiculous, and this one was like, come on. So I don't really have much to say on them. I mean, at least you guys don't have Draymond on your team. So that's the upside, because he's been on something lately. I don't know what the hell is. But yeah, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, maybe the next game we might see Peyton Pritchard ejected for some odd reason, though, because I don't know what it is with the referees and the Celtics. So, but speaking of, the referees was like, well, he kind of waved them off in a way that was just disrespectful. But speaking of waving off, here comes the next couple of games. They at home. It's a 4 home games. They got the Cleveland Cavaliers twice tomorrow night and Thursday. They got the Orlando Magic at home Friday night and Sunday night. Woo! When I tell you that I am afraid of these 2 teams, I am really afraid, especially with Cleveland and the Magic. More of the Magic than Cleveland. But Maliika, I'm going to start with you. Which game that you are penciling in is like, okay, this is going to be a really tough game of the Celtics? Which one would seem like a tougher matchup for the Celtics, the Cavaliers or the Magic?
Well, I mean, to me, the Cavs, that's a good question. To me, the Cavs is really just, like, how are they defensively going to guard Garland and Donovan Mitchell? Because I mean, defensively, they're not as potent as I thought that they would be a year ago. like what the hell happened with Jared Allen after he got traded? Like, I was upset when he was traded. I was upset. And I look at the Cavs and I'm like, what is going on with them? So I don't know. Like, I feel like the Cavs can score, but defensively they don't scare me anymore. So I'm not concerned about the Cavs it's really defensively, will the Celtics, have their legs to defend them all 4 quarters. Because one thing about Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, like tonight, they're like scoring, like Darius Garland already has 30. You know what I mean? Like, so those two little guards and they're little. So those 2 little guards can score. With the Magic, it depends on what they look like, who shows up, because they're still young. And while they have skill, they're not consistent. So if you got the A team, meaning they got the A game, that could be a tough matchup. If you only got Paolo out there doing his thing and the others aren't with it, then it'll be an easy win. So I'm curious about the second game of the matchup with the Magic, not the first one. Because the second game is when they make the adjustments, and I'm always curious at how the second game goes when it's like these back-to-back games. The baseball kind of series kind of things they've been doing. I always watch the second. I'm gonna watch the second game of both games, just to see what happens. I'm curious about
Now, yeah, no. Now, what's the toughest matchup to? Is it going to be Cleveland or is it going to be the Magic?
I'm not concerned about Cleveland necessarily. I don't think Cleveland has played well really this year or consistent this year. Not to say that Boston's like
score more than me, right?
Huh?
They just score more than me. That's really what you see out of Cleveland. They are an offensive team, really. Defensively, they're just not consistent. Or should you be concerned about them on that end? Sorry,
The
I
problem-
keep coming.
No, so the problem that I have with Cleveland is I think that, you want too much out of a young player, and Evan Mobley, they keep saying that's something that he's not. He's the next Kevin Garnett. And I'm like, well, maybe you never watched Kevin Garnett, because that doesn't make sense to me. Kevin Garnett was a different beast, and they keep putting these labels on these guys. And I'm just like, who the hell are you watching? Because when I watch Evan Mobley, I'm like, you can score on him, if you crafty enough, you can score on him. He doesn't scare anybody. Like, people will go at Evan Mobley. He doesn't. Kevin Garnett, he instilled fear into people where they're like, I don't know, he might like knock me on the ground, he might punch my shit on the other side or something like that. Evan Mobley does not. He looks like a really nice guy. He looks like a sweetheart. And Jared Allen, I just think that like he's a great compliment. JP's laughing at me. I just think that Jared Allen is a guy that he's a defensive guy and he wants to just do that. Let him do that. He don't put nothing else on him. He wants to defend. He wants to block some shots. He'll finish around the basket a little bit, but you put too much on him, and now he's not the lights are brighter than what I thought they would be. Because he's not that kind of guy. They're still trying to figure it out. Max Strus is getting a lot of minutes. 1 minute he has 15, the next minute he has 4 or 5. Karis LeVert, 1 minute he's got 20, the next minute he's got 3, and it's just, you never know with this team. Donovan Mitchell, he's had a okay, start to the season. We're about 20 games and he's been all right, not as explosive as I was expecting. I was expecting more 40-point games and 35-point games versus certain teams didn't get that. Darius Garland and D Mitch don't mix to me either. So this team is all over the place. Their pieces don't make sense, but when you talk about Orlando, man, now that gets me fired up because I love Orlando. I actually am a fan of the Orlando Magic. I love Paolo. I love Fultz. Fultz is one of my favorite guards. I just like the Suggs and Cole Anthony. I like all of those guys. Franz. I actually like Mo Wagner. I'm his brother. on the bench. I really like him the most. He's a guy that I was really watching in Washington. I was like, damn, they let a good one go. He's actually better than what you think he is. And he's having a really good season. So they're just a young team, but they're talented and they get after it, So I think that Boston play Cleveland the way you need to play Cleveland, but you really got to prove something with Orlando and these young, like run and gun teams. That's what you got to do. These athletic teams are teams that they struggle against. Usually when Boston plays a team, they're the most athletic. But when they play Orlando, that's not the case. Orlando is just young and talented and they run and gun. That's what I want to see. I want to see how they go and play against Orlando. I expect them to win both games against Orlando.
Yeah, the Atlanta matchup just scary because they're really great defensively. You just said they're young, they're running and gunning. Paolo and then the Wagner brothers, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, like they're looking really good. So it's kind of like really scary for Boston. Only thing afraid about Cleveland is Donovan Mitchell because he always have great games against the Boston Celtics. I don't know what it is. He's just possessed and scores like 30, 40 points and ends up winning. I don't know what's going on with him. And then the length, last year they bothered me because of the length size with Porzingis might be a little bit different and all that. So yeah, I don't really know the best record I would say for Boston and all that, So I really don't know, but I expect that they can win. I expect them to win both games against Cleveland. Orlando, I would say they might win one. I don't know which game is going to be. I don't know which one. I'll say they'll get one game and Orlando's going to win the other game too as well. So, but yeah, so this is episode 8 of the Celtics Rewind. Maliika, we appreciate you coming on. This has been fantastic. We really appreciate you. Please tell the viewers where they can find you at and what you got coming up.
Sorry. I thought I thank you. You can find me at Maliika Walker, Maliika Walker on Twitter. The Hoops and Huddle Podcast can be found wherever you listen to your podcasts. And our next podcast series is going to be on the top point guards of all time. We review by era, 60s and 70s, 80s and 90s. 2010s. So we're doing two decades together, which made it harder. And then all time. I will publish that one next week, this week and next week. So that's the next one. We're going to cut down each position. We're gonna really do tiers for each position and look back on some teams and just do some classic content. So looking forward to. Justin is all over that podcast. He's talking about every era and he knows his stuff. So definitely check it out. And I'm looking forward to hearing feedback from everyone. So check it out.
Yes, I can't wait to hear Lonzo Ball's name in the conversation for all-time point guards. I cannot wait for it. So, hey, Nat, what you got coming up though? Because you've been doing great stuff too as well. So.
Yeah, I got my podcast, the 3-Peat podcast, Don't Do for Sports, my guy. We doing this right here, Celtics Rewind. Again, I'm always down to, co-host, feature on somebody's podcast. I love talking hoops, talking sports and everything. Yeah, so just stop following me on Twitter. You always know the next best thing I'm doing. And I hope to get involved with playback as well. So you get to watch my natural reactions to the game, and I'm yelling at the guys and everything like that. So look out for that too.
Oh, yeah. And you're hosting playback tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I am hosting playback tomorrow. So that's going to be fun.
Yes.
Definitely come follow me because I'm going to be set up and I'm going to be looking at these guys like, what the hell? Like, Peyton Pritchard, 0 points, incoming, so just watching it tomorrow.
Hey, Celtics take over this week. I'm hosting Thursday too as well.
I'll just say I have to join that one. I have to join that one because I just need to. I need to see how your reaction to things while watching. I have to see it.
Yes. So y'all can catch me. Y'all can catch me on This Is JP on my YouTube channel, always Celtics Rewind 2. Got a podcast with the con man himself coming out next Friday. I'm going to be doing some NBA stuff with him. And check me out on TikTok too as well. It's just JP doing a lot of different NBA stories too as well. Almost catching 1 million views on one video, just saying, you know. But definitely, yes. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on. So, but yeah, this is episode 8 of the Celtics Rewind. I'm JP, the franchise. She's Nat GM. She's Maliika Walker. And we out, y'all. Peace.